Hey guys, welcome back. So today we have the unique opportunity to do some testing with the SCAR 20S and compare its performance to my old SCAR 17S. The SCAR 20S is a DMR or precision rifle that was born from the original SCAR 17. So what we want to find out today is there really any performance to be gained from the 20S versus the 17S in terms of accuracy? This gun, the 20S, came into copper on trade. As far as we could tell, it was unfired. The customer swapped it out for just a regular SCAR 17S, but that gave us the unique opportunity to be able to come out and do some accuracy testing and see what these things are all about. Now, I did have a chance to shoot against one in a little, kind of off-the-cuff competition with Iraq Veteran 8888 a couple years ago, and I went up against it with my H&K LRP 762 A1 LRP, and the LRP, in my opinion, was the superior of the two. So today's video should be pretty interesting, but before we get started, guys, please, if you enjoy the content, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, comment down below. It helps us with the algorithms, and we love reading those comments. With all that being said, let's get started with today's video. I think you guys are going to find this interesting. Guys, please swing by and check out Big Daddy Unlimited, BDU. They help support us here at the Military Arms Channel with products and things like that so we can continue to bring you content. There's a link in the video description down below that'll take you to the Mac blog and website. Please follow that link, and from there you'll find a link to Big Daddy Unlimited, and try them out just for 99 cents. You can see what they're all about. In essence, they're just like a big online store that has amazing prices. So please, again, check out BDU. So first, let's talk about the SCAR 17S. This rifle I've had for many years. This is a Belgium-made rifle, and this is a gun that I think is rather exceptional. I've always been a fan of the SCAR 17S. I've never been a big fan of the SCAR 16S. In terms of a .308 battle rifle, this thing is really kind of peerless. It's a weapon that was developed for the U.S. military, and it's seen use by mostly special operations, but it is a military rifle. And it is, again, I think peerless for the most part in terms of a big bore battle rifle, in terms of a fighting rifle. Everybody's gone to 5.56 or other calibers, but this thing really makes the .308 practical in terms of having it as a mainline fighting rifle. And that's because of its weight. So let's just go down the specs of this rifle here really quick. I do have a cheat sheet over here to my right, so I will be looking at that to make sure I get all the information correct and keep my thoughts organized. So, SCAR 17S has a 16.25-inch barrel. The barrel is a 1-in-12 twist. It is cold hammer forged, and it is chrome lined. So for a lightweight barrel, this gun actually performs quite well, which we'll talk about when we get into the accuracy. It has a monolithic receiver, so the pick rail across the top of the receiver is all one piece. It doesn't break anywhere. It is a true monolithic 1913 rail across the top with T-slots marked along the way. It has 4 bolts holding the barrel into the receiver. So you have 2 on either side of the receiver. And this is something that the end user can easily remove, that being the barrel. The stock is adjustable in 3 different ways. It actually has 3 different ways you can adjust, I should say. First of all, we have length of pull. You press a button on the left-hand side, and you have 6 different positions to lock that stock into place, so you can adjust that length of pull. Next, you have the ability for a 2-position comb setting, so you can put that down or rise this up in case you're using optics and need that extra little bit of cheek riser. Then you have a button on the left-hand side you can push, which will allow the stock to fold to the side of the receiver, and yes, the gun can be fired with the stock folded. However, once again, this is meant for storage and not for shooting. The gun has a stock trigger in it. The stock trigger has a trigger pull weight of 7 pounds. So it's a fairly heavy trigger. The gun itself weighs 8 pounds. It does ship with iron sights, which are actually really good iron sights that are integrated into the gun. And it has an overall length of 38.5 inches, and that's with the stock fully extended to the end of the PWS muzzle brake that's on the end of that 16.25-inch barrel. And then we did some testing for muzzle velocity, and we used 150 grain ball Federal for the velocity testing. That's because we're going from a 16-inch barrel to a 20-inch barrel. This one at the muzzle has 2,540 feet per second that it registered on the chronograph, and then at 100 yards it's still doing 2,372 feet per second at 100 yards. So we'll talk about the difference in velocity when we talk about the SCAR 20. Before we go any further, let's do some shooting with this rifle and get an idea of what types of groups we can expect using both 168 grain Federal Gold Medal match and 175 grain Federal Gold Medal match. We used the exact same scope on both rifles. We used a Leupold LRP, and we zeroed it to each rifle and then used that exact same scope to keep the playing field as level as possible. This is a completely stock SCAR, and the SCAR 20 is also completely stock. So let's take a look at some of the groups that we were able to put down with the regular old 17S. All right. This is the SCAR 20S. This rifle was developed for a military contract. It was meant to be a DMR precision type rifle, and they made some changes to the gun, but it's still at its very core a SCAR 17 with a slightly longer barrel and receiver. But let's go over the specs of the firearm. First of all, we have that 20-inch heavier profile barrel. This one has a 1 in 12 twist. This is an older rifle. Based on what we've gleaned from the FN website, they've now gone to a 1 in 10 twist on the new production guns. And that's fairly significant. The 1 in 10 twist is going to typically give you better performance with heavier bullets like the 175 grain SMK that's used in Federal Gold Medal match. And what does that mean? It means you're going to have better ballistics for extended shooting past 800 yards. So with that 175 grain round, you can easily go to 1,000 yards, and I've seen it pushed well past that in my experience. So that's a pretty significant change. If you have an earlier version of the gun, you have a 1 in 12 twist. If you just got a recent production gun, you're going to have a 1 in 10 twist. This one also has a cold hammer forged barrel that is also chrome lined, but it's a heavier profile barrel than the SCAR 17S. It has an extended monolithic receiver, so you can see how they've extended the receiver out past the gas block. Both guns have adjustable gas blocks. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of the SCAR 17. There's plenty of videos out there, including our own, talking about that ad nauseum. We're just talking about the differences between the 20S and the 17S. So we still have the same reciprocating charging handle. They didn't change that. Unfortunately, that would have been a nice thing. We do have the 6 bolts. So if you take a look here, you'll see 3 bolts versus 2. And again, it's on the other side of the receiver as well. So we have 6 bolts holding that heavier profile barrel in the receiver. Now the receiver on both guns are made of extruded aluminum, and then they have a polymer lower, and then we get into the stock on this rifle, which is fully adjustable. But I guess that's my next talking point. This rifle versus the polymer UGG boot of the SCAR 17S has this aluminum adjustable stock. You can adjust it without tools. If you want to adjust the length of pull, there's a button right here you can push in. Just push that button in, and you can slide the butt plate to whatever length you want for length of pull, which is right about there for me. Also, your cheek riser, a button right here. Push that button in, and when you do that, push the button in, the cheek riser can be moved up or down so you can get the gun tuned to you for shooting with optics. Now I have the scope mounted fairly low, so I don't really need that cheek comb coming up much. The stock does not fold on this like it does on the 17S. This rifle, unlike the SCAR 17S with its 7-pound trigger pull, this one has a trigger pull right about 3 pounds 2 ounces, and it is a Geissele Super SCAR trigger. So you do get a match grade trigger. It's a very, very nice trigger in this gun. Much better than the factory SCAR 17S. This one weighs 11.6 pounds with no optics or magazine in it. So it's a bit of a chub. It's almost, you know, with optics and everything on it, it's going to be a fairly heavy rifle. The SCAR 17 at 8 pounds is a light rifle for .308. This is just a little bit heavier. And then we have an overall length on this one of 42.8 inches, and that's, I believe, with this completely collapsed, not extended, being the adjustable butt plate. Now, when we did our velocity testing with 150 grain Federal American Eagle, we had a muzzle velocity of 2,689 feet per second at the muzzle. At 100 yards, we're still doing 2,473 feet per second. We're seeing about 150 feet per second difference between the SCAR 17S and the SCAR 20. So for 4 inches of barrel, you're picking up 150 feet per second advantage, if you will, for those longer ranges. So with that being said, this is the LRP scope that we've run on both rifles for our testing. And with that being said, let's do some shooting with this rifle and see what the accuracy performance looks like with the different ammunition that we brought out here. The 168 grain Federal Gold Medal match, 175 grain Federal Gold Medal match, and we also shot both rifles with a 150 grain ball. So let's take a closer look at the accuracy of the SCAR 17S. This was the first group I fired this afternoon with it, and I was pretty excited about that. It's 168 grain Federal Gold Medal match, and it's a 0.4 inch group, sub-minute 3-shot group. But that's not normal for the guns. They're typically about a 1 inch gun. Up here, we have 168 grain Gold Medal match again, 3-shot group, SCAR 17S, 0.9 inch. So it's just under 1 inch. Over here, 168 grain Federal Gold Medal match, 3-shot group, 1.1 inches. Again, on par with what I'm used to seeing out of SCARs, about 1 MOA with match ammunition. Over here, we have 175 grain Federal Gold Medal match, 3-shot group, 1.3 inches out of the SCAR 17. And then just as a control, I fired a 150 grain Federal American Eagle ball round and 3-shot group, 1.5 inches. And again, that's pretty representative of what we typically see out of the SCAR, which is really, really good, especially with ball ammunition. All right, now let's take a closer look at the SCAR 20. We did a little bit more shooting with the SCAR 20S because it's my first time actually having one at the range, and since I got to give it back here shortly, I wanted to do a bit more shooting with it and see exactly what type of performance we can expect from it. The SCAR 20, 168 grain, Federal Gold Medal match, 1 inch 3-shot group, on par with the 17S. 175 grain, and this was crazy. First shot went way down here, next two went up here for a total of a 3-inch group. I'm going to call that a fluke. That happens with factory ammunition. We will revisit the 175 grain. 168 grain, Federal Gold Medal match, 1.3 inches, SCAR 20S. All right, so we wanted to do some more shooting with it because we're like, this doesn't really seem to be all that impressive. It's because it's not impressive. Up here, this one we tried different rests and stuff. I wanted to think, okay, we typically shoot off a bag and we do quite well, both Jason and I. And I also had Jason shoot a group just to make sure that it wasn't the loose nut behind the butt plate screwing this up, but I've shot the Scars for many years. I know what to expect. I just expected more of the Scar 20S. Here we have 168 grain Federal Gold Medal match out of the Scar 20. This is off a Caldwell rest and 1.4 inches. This was me firing the first shot and then having my thumb in the wrong spot and getting whacked by the charging handle, causing a malfunction. So this target is a wash. Over here, this is Jason's target. This is 168 grain Federal Gold Medal match, 1.1 inches out of the Scar 20S. And this is a target I shot, 1 inch with 168 grain Federal Gold Medal match. This one was using the Caldwell clamp rest, which clamps the front of the rifle. And again, they gave us a 1 inch group. This was us screwing around with a different rifle. And then for the 150 grain ball out of the Scar 20S, again, 1.5 inches. Exactly the same performance as we saw out of the Scar 17S. And then when we revisited the 175 grain Federal Gold Medal match, we got a 1.4 inch group at 100 yards. Not impressive. Now, the Scar 17S now has a retail price. They keep raising the MSRP, but it has an MSRP of $3,569. If you want to step up to their Accurized model, you can expect to pay $1,000 more for it, and probably more just because of how rare they are, but they have a retail price, MSRP, of $4,499. About $1,000 difference, but there is not $1,000 in difference in terms of performance. Now, the Scar 17S, the biggest draw that I have to the rifle is it weighs 8 pounds. It's light, handy, and it'll shoot 1.5 minutes with ball ammunition, which is really good. But in today's age, I do have a Daniel Defense 308 AR-10, and I just wanted to show you guys this really quick. Using the exact same Federal Gold Medal match, we saw this group, which is sub-minute. It's under a 1/2 inch. This is the Daniel Defense AR-10 in 308. Again, sub-minute, 3-shot group. So that gives you an idea of what current production rifles like the Daniel Defense AR-10s are capable of. One of the things I didn't point out about this particular version of the Scar 20S is that it has a 3-prong flash suppressor on it. The new ones have a, I believe, a Surefire muzzle device on them. So they've also changed the muzzle device. They went from a 1 in 12 twist to a 1 in 10 in the new guns, and they changed the muzzle device. So what did we learn this afternoon? Well, we learned the biggest difference between the two rifles is weight and 150 feet per second in terms of muzzle velocity using a 150 grain ball round. Outside of that, there's really no difference in terms of the guns with regards to performance being accuracy. The Scar 20S comes to market at $1,000 more MSRP than the standard Scar 17. And like I said, the only real difference is the weight and the muzzle velocity difference of 150 feet per second. With the Scar 17S, you do get these really nice folding sights. You don't get any sights with the Scar 20S. You do get the Geissele trigger in the Scar 20S, but in the end, if you're used to shooting military 7-pound triggers like I am, it really didn't change the game for me. It didn't improve the accuracy. For many people, a lighter trigger with a crisper pull will increase accuracy somewhat, but that wasn't the case with these rifles. I went to the extra step of this gun of actually shooting it not just off the bag, but trying a couple of different rests that we had here. One where the gun just sets loosely in the rest, another one where it's clamped into the rest, trying to find out if there was something we could do to eke out more accuracy from the Scar 20S over the 17S, and we simply couldn't do it. With the Scar 17S, you get that, you lose 150 feet per second with that ball round, but you get a lighter weight rifle that's capable of the exact same accuracy. If you could get your hands on parts, which is a near impossibility from FN, but if you wanted this stock, if you could source it somewhere, you could stick it on here, put a Geissele Super Scar trigger in it, and you're going to have exactly the same performance out of a lighter weight gun with a slight disadvantage with regards to muzzle velocity. In this video, we purposely did not suppress either of the rifles. We wanted to keep the playing field level, and the SCAR 20S is Copper's property. I borrowed it to make the video to compare it accuracy-wise to the 17S. And we saw the results of that. But in looking around online, I had seen other people saying that their older guns with the 3-prong flash hider and the 1 in 12 twist barrels were pretty much 1 MOA guns. I found a Guns and Ammo article where they tested the SCAR 20S, the same model as I used in our video, and on average they all shot just over 1 inch at 100 yards, or just over 1 MOA, which is comparable to the results we found with the rifle out here testing it, unsuppressed. Now the gun belongs to Copper Custom, the 20S does, and I didn't want to invalidate the warranty of the gun by suppressing it, and FN may invalidate your warranty. They say that they retain that right to do so if you put a suppressor on the 17 or the 20S. So I didn't want to do that. But it was nagging at me because after we filmed the video and I was doing some looking around online again, I saw people saying that their guns settled down nicely once they suppressed them. So I took my favorite suppressor, the OSS, and I put it on the SCAR 20S, and lo and behold, the largest group we shot using the exact same 168 grain Federal gold medal match ammunition, the largest group was just over a half a minute at 100 yards, but every other group was under a half a minute at 100 yards. It never shot over a half inch, and that is significant. So the suppressor on the SCAR 20S, at least with the example that I have here, saw the accuracy double simply by putting a can on it. Now, not all cans are created equal, not all muzzle devices are created equal, and we have seen suppressors tighten up the groups on other guns before. Perhaps this is a topic for another video, but I thought this was an important update to add to this video because it really does change the dynamic of the gun. It goes from something that I saw no purpose in to something now that I think is pretty darn interesting, although still overpriced. If you were to spend $4,500 on a GA Precision, purpose-built precision rifle, you would get same hole accuracy, suppressed or unsuppressed. But it's still a significant development and something that I wanted to include in this video. I look forward to reading your comments down below. Guys, if you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms channel so we can continue to bring you information like this, consider becoming part of our Patreon family. There's a link in the video description down below. Follow that link to Patreon and support us over there. You get early access to videos like this one. You also have direct access to me. I answer all private communications, and we have a great community over there. Again, Patreon, link down below. Right here on YouTube, you can support us with the little join button you see under the video player you're looking at right now. Give that button a click and support us right here on YouTube. And last but not least, guys, please swing by and check out coppercustom.com. Thank you for 13 years of support. We'll talk to you guys soon.